Well, how's it going there, folks? This is not Uncle Larry. How you guys doing today? Welcome, guys. I guess you got the memo, which is good. Good. I'm glad
Your
I'm not
business
alone.
requires trust. Prove trust without...
Of course, I'm switching the day to the Saturday, and the reason for that is, unfortunately, I won't be available tomorrow. So I didn't want to gyp you guys out of a Sunday show or a weekend show, so I decided to jump in today instead. So hopefully that'll work out for everybody, and maybe some people haven't gotten the memo yet, but it's all good. We can... less people means more intimate discussions, right? How you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. My wife is down for the count. She's sick, so hopefully I won't get it next. I've been fighting it off all of this week. My body's been like telling me, dude, it's coming. But fortunately, so far, it's hanging in there. So let's say good morning to the boys. Let's get the show started. We got a lot of great stuff to talk about today, and let's get cracking. Dan's here. He was early this morning. Dan was. He says hello to everybody. He says, how's it hanging? A little to the left, Dan, but it's all good. How about you? Ken says good morning too. Good morning, Ken. And NFM, good morning. SB can say I have hairdresser appointment today. I need to get a haircut. So I can't stay probably, but I wish everyone a nice stream. Well, SB, you know, sexy hair is more important than anything else, right? So yeah, go take care of your hair. You don't want to look scruffy. Nobody likes to look scruffy, especially on the weekend. Vinny's here. Ken, it's me, Don P. Rich. Vinny's World says, how many blue LP studio videos did everyone watch this week? Yeah, what's up with that? There's an influx of blue Les Pauls. I'm not a big fan, I have to say. Mark is here. He's got a gig. Awesome, dude. Hopefully you're looking forward to your gig today. And everything goes smooth. Hopefully you get a good crowd. Where are you playing today? If anybody is in the neighborhood, wants to swing on by, maybe you want to give a shout out to where you'll be, in case there's anyone local that wants to join in. So Vinny's World is here, the Nye is here, Vox Guitars Rock, Marcel, he says, hello fellow gearheads. Time Surfing Alien. I might be repeating some of the names. I got the memory of a goldfish. Farid is here. BC Rich 581. Mark says he's a lot of people in his place have a cold too. Yeah, it's going around, dude. It's going around. Marcel too says cough cough. We're gonna try, Dan. We're gonna try. We're going to try and kill those germs with some alcohol tonight. We have a party to go to, believe it or not. And we're like, okay, how are we going to do this? Do we stay home and be party poopers, or do we go and infect everybody? Dilemma. What would you do? I don't know. D-Mac says some crazy old school flus going around lately. And... Vinny says, hope my wife gets better. Yeah, me too. She's tough. She's a tough cookie. Tougher than me. But, yeah, she was wiped out yesterday. So I told her to take it easy for a while, see what happens. She doesn't listen to me most of the time anyway, so. Vox says, working in a bit, and the mainframe computer went down last night, so gonna be interesting. Sounds like fun. Rico's in sunny Arizona, lucky man. Rich's got his coffee. Steve says, everyone good this morning? Yeah, so, Steve. So. Rico said, I had a relook at the calendar. Thought it was Sunday with your live stream. So I hope I didn't throw everybody off today. It's odd for me to be doing this on a Saturday too. But maybe some of you guys prefer Saturday. I don't know what the consensus will be after the show today, but maybe Saturday is better than Sunday. I don't know. You guys tell me. To be determined, I always say. So Mark's playing at a brewery called Silly Yak Beer in Maryland. So Damascus, Maryland. So if anybody's in the neighborhood and wants to catch a cool show, wants to encourage Mark, swing on by. Silly Yak Beer. That's an interesting name for sure. Very cool. If I was in the neighborhood, I'd drop by, but it's just a little bit out of my way, Mark, unfortunately. But hope you have a good show anyways. I get it. Silly yak, like celiac. Gluten-free beers. Never tried gluten-free beers. I didn't even know it was a thing. That's how much I know about gluten-free beers. But I'll take your word for it if it's tasty. All I can tell you is I haven't been a big fan of anything else gluten-free. So I trust you on the beer, Mark. Rico says, heading to Alice Cooper's Christmas pudding show tonight. What's that all about? I haven't heard anything about that. Alice Cooper Christmas pudding show? Don't know what that is. Sounds interesting though. Didn't know Alice Cooper was into pudding. Vinny says, Tony, it's because Gibson released a new version of the studio this week. It's actually really nice, but fairly aggressive marketing. The marketing people at Gibson are working overtime, in case you didn't know. Man, they're pumping out stuff left and right. Holy mackerel. I saw some videos. I wasn't really engaged by them, unfortunately, because I'm not into blue Gibsons. But if you're into blue Gibsons, you definitely probably saw at least one ad. Gluten-free bears would be a real accomplishment. Yeah, I figured it was beers, not bears. Yeah. D-Mac says he's confused. Says Gibson is confusing him with all their latest studio releases. That new session studio is like the modern studio from not too long ago, but just different pickups and ebony fingerboard. I think that's the goal, Mark. It is to confuse people. It's kind of like Apple with all of their everything looking the same, so you don't know what you have, and you have to check to see what version you have because everything looks exactly the same. It's confusing. It is very confusing. I agree with you. Rico says his vote is still for Sunday. Vox says, hope your wife is feeling better. We're going to try and get her in tip-top shape. We're pumping her full of cold effects. I don't know if you guys ever use that stuff. Apparently it's supposed to help. I'm not sure it really does. It's amazing. They can do crazy things today, but they still can't give you a viable solution for a cold. That's what scares me, when they're looking at they're advertising research and everything for all these major diseases, and you hope that there's some very smart people working on them and able to find a solution for some of these really, really nasty things. But then you think to yourself, it's like they're doing all this stuff and they can't even figure out a solution for the cold. So how much luck do you think they're going to have with the big things? I don't know. But it's business. I don't want to get into that discussion. It's money. I know. All right. Steve says Alice loves blood pudding. Oh, is that it? That's what it is. Okay, blood pudding. That makes it different. That's different. I don't think I've ever tried blood pudding. Doesn't sound delicious to me. I'll stick with chocolate for now. Hey, Dwight. Nice to see you, buddy. Hey, Charles. What's going on, dude? I'll stick with chocolate. I think that's more my style. All right, so we're at show number 234. Hopefully some others will trickle in slowly as they realize that we're doing the show Saturday, not in the usual spot of Sunday. For those of you that are new here and you want to chat and you can't, you have to subscribe. So please do that and you'll be able to jump in on the chat as opposed to just staying lurking in the shadows, ghosting everybody. It's no fun. You gotta jump in. That's what makes it more interesting. So we're at show number 234. And I wanted to say thank you for everybody. We've hit 35,000 subscribers this week. Milestone, I would say. It's a nice number. And we've actually surpassed that number. But, you know, it happened this week. And I wanted to remind myself to say thank you to everybody that's here on a regular basis. Because you guys are awesome. And, you know, familiar faces. You're like extended family. And I really look forward to the weekend shows. And I hope you guys do too. Hopefully we get new faces in here as well. And they stick around. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I put out a couple of videos this week. Some of you might have been a little confused by one of them because I didn't really announce anything. I just did it spur of the moment. And that was my Tom Bukovac, Uncle Larry imitation video. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. I love Tom. He's an awesome dude. Sweet, sweet guy. Tom's a sweet, sweet guy. I watch his channel all the time because, you know, he's an awesome guy. He's really fun because he always tells stories and he's got his own quirky way about him and stuff. But so I just heard by accident, somehow I was watching one of his videos and he mentioned something about a contest, sort of an imitation contest. And I didn't really know what the details are. I don't even know what kind of contest it is. I don't even know if there's a prize, to be honest with you. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna do it just for giggles. I'm gonna do one, and just cracked open my phone, put it on my table here, and within 5 minutes I had a video. And totally spur of the moment, and a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's it got a lot of interesting comments. Let me see. Maybe I can share the video here for you guys if you haven't seen it. I think it's one of these. I think it's this one. Let me just make sure before I send out the link to you guys. Do you guys know Tom? If you don't know Tom Bukovac, he's a session musician. You see, he's out of Nashville, I think, and really cool guy. Sweet, sweet man. Here you go. I put the link in the chat here. There you go. When you have a moment, take a look at it and tell me how stupid I look. Now, Tom is he's very peculiar in his videos because he always shoots them with an iPhone, nothing fancy. Most of the time, he's not even completely in the shot. And he likes to play and talk and, you know, talk about different things. Anyway, hopefully I'll be in the running. I don't know. I didn't watch too many of the others. There's a few others that I did see that I think they're pretty cool. And we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I'm just letting it run. So take a look at it. Maybe tell me what you think. I just had fun doing it. It's funny how you spend exactly 5 minutes on a video and it gets 6,000 views. You can spend 3 hours or more on a video and it gets like 100 views. So there's really no rhyme or reason why things, you know, just perform the way they do. But I thought it was funny when I saw that. Ken says he saw it. He says it was hilarious. I'm glad you liked it. So we did have a poll question this week. I put it out later on, earlier on this week, and we'll talk about that. And in a nutshell, the question was a very basic one. What's more important when you're a musician? Is it talent, or is it, who knows the answer? Passion. Talent or passion? If you had to pick only one, what would be the most important factor to being a musician? That was the question. It seems like an easy question, but actually it requires a little bit of thought. And it's interesting what kind of answers I got. We'll look at it later. So if you haven't already voted on that question, it's in the community section of our Addicted to Gear channel. As per usual, you still have time to vote. We'll take a look at it towards the end of the show today. I'm probably gonna take a hard stop in about an hour. All right. Now, let's see here. It's sharp fret season again today. I don't know if you guys are experiencing the same thing. Basically, I can tell when I play this guitar, because this guitar does not have any kind of finish on the neck except for a little bit of wax and a little bit of oil. So because it has very little treatment on the neck, it tends to sprout the frets quite quickly when the temperature starts to change, and I think we're all experiencing the fact that it's starting to be heating season again. We already got snow here, and so when that happens, what ends up happening, obviously the dryness in the air drops, and unless you have a room humidifier, you're going to be feeling some fret sprout, and this one needs a little bit of love. I'm going to take the opportunity just to knock them down just a little bit. It's not extreme, but I do feel it, and it bothers me when I do feel that, so requires just a little bit of attention. I actually still am working on this guitar. This is still a guitar that is a work in progress. It's one that I built. This is not an off-the-shelf EVH guitar from Fender. This is basically something I built myself from parts. You guys have probably seen this guitar before, I'm pretty sure. So recently, the most recent thing that I did is worked on the nut here a little bit, just aligning the nut. I actually raised the neck slightly so I can get better floating action on the original Floyd Rose. This is an original 80s Floyd Rose nut reproduction that somebody kindly sent to me, and so I made that floating now. So I raised the pickups just a little bit here, the bridge pickup, obviously. It's only one. I also shimmed one of the saddles slightly, because with the Floyd Rose, bridges are usually straight flat. You got to put a little piece of metal underneath to basically give you the curve that you need. So that plays better. Lowered the action so that I have a quicker action here on the neck. And besides that, I also routed out a bit of the cavity in the back, just slightly, so that I could do a little bit more with the tremolo bar. What else? What else did I do? That's about it, I think. But all those little changes really make the guitar play and sound much better. I like it. Eddie says, did you see the Frankie Relic on sale for $6.99? That is a crazy good price. Where is this for $6.99 guitar, Eddie? Is that one of these China-made guitars, or is it really an original off-the-shelf guitar? $6.99 is a good price if it's an off-the-shelf guitar. I didn't see that. Vox says AliExpress for the loss, LOL. I'm not sure what we're talking about there. Did I miss something? Hey guys, do me a favor, would you? Today, when you're watching the show, can you just tell me when there's an ad? Like right after an ad appears, can you just tell me when it appears? I'm going to be looking at trying to do something with these ads, because they're really disruptive to the live shows. And I don't know when they pop up, but I mean, I kind of do, because all of a sudden everybody gets quiet on your side. I'm talking, and usually you guys are giving me feedback back and forth, but then when there's an ad, it's kind of like dead air for a while. So if there's an ad, can you just do me a favor and just write ad so I know what's going on? Would appreciate that. Just want to gauge what YouTube is doing to ruin my channel. So Ian says, did I change any of the electronics? No, I didn't, Ian, because there's not much in here to begin with. It's one pickup that's active, one control knob, and that's it. The rest is straight pipe, so there's not much to change. It was like that when I built it, and it's like that now. So Marcel's the smart cookie here. He's got premium, no ads, he says. Great. I might have to do that. I can't stand ads. It's such a waste of time. But I don't want to pay. I'm cheap. The premium is what, Marcel? $12 or something a month? Something like that. More money for stupidities. I just can't stand, as if YouTube's not making enough money out there. Mark 2, he's playing premium. Rico 2, premium. Wow. Ken says only at the beginning so far. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I think it is worth it. Shit, I don't want to do it. I might have to bite the bullet. Farid said I had tons of ads last Sunday. None today so far. Good. Glad to hear it. And Vinny says, what a few channels I've seen do is turn off ads during the live stream, then turn them back on for the replay. I don't know how to do that. Vinny, help me out, dude. I got to figure that one out. If that's an option, yeah, I'll do that for sure. Usually what I see is that they end up putting an ad at about the halfway mark, 30 minutes, or maybe one or two, which really ruins the flow, I feel. Anyways, we'll see how it goes. Ed says, Tony, do you have any experience with guitar fetish pickups? Very little, Ed. I did order, I think, one or two way back when I was building inexpensive guitars. I wanted something, and I actually was trying to figure out whether or not they were good or not. So I did order some. What do you want to know, dude? Yeah, Mark, I see what you mean. I watch YouTube all the time, like more than TV. There's nothing interesting on TV anymore. So basically, I watch YouTube. That's my main thing, my main source of entertainment when I'm not making my own videos. So yeah, I like to watch YouTube all the time. So probably, I guess paying for no ads would be great. It's just that if you pay for no ads and then for whatever reason have to get rid of it, it's going to be killer to go back to ads. So Eddie Jr. says, just check, the sale is over. I swear to God, it was $6.99 Thursday and Friday. Well, dude, you should have let us know earlier. $6.99 is a sweet deal. And it's it was actually the road worn version, like the actual beat up version of that guitar. That's a crazy deal, because usually those guitars are like over $1,200. Huh. Well, it's gone now, Eddie. So thanks for nothing, buddy. I'm just kidding. Don't feel bad, Eddie. You just saved us $700. Most of us, anyways. Probably me. Even though I have one. Mind you, I already have one. So I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this one. So I'm going to enjoy it more than an off-the-shelf thing. I think, anyway. So getting back to the contest, the Tom Bukovac contest, I was wondering, I said, maybe I should do a contest for this channel. You know, maybe you guys can do the same. And we can do like a Tony Addicted to Gear imitation contest where you guys basically hold on a second, where you guys basically just, you know, do an imitation of me and post it out there. Maybe we can, you know, have a prize up for grabs or something. I think that'll be fun. I had such a fun time doing the video. I would think it would be fun for maybe you guys to do the same. So maybe we'll do that. Well, maybe we'll do that in next couple of weeks. Maybe, who knows? There's the problem. The only downside with that idea is that there's a right now there's a postal strike here. Nothing's coming or going with the mail, which is fantastic because I open my mailbox and usually there's a stack of bills and there's nothing in my mailbox. It's beautiful. I wish it was always like that because, let's be honest, all we ever get is bills and stuff like that in the mail anyways. So because of that, if I would do a contest, it would be a little bit difficult for me to send out anything right now. But that doesn't mean I can't send it out after. I mean, it's not going to last forever. They're smart. They do it during Christmas. And during Christmas, basically, they got you by the nuts because everybody's ordering stuff, presents and stuff online. So it puts extra pressure. I was smart. I didn't buy any presents. I'm not sure if my kids are going to like that. But hey, at least it's not stuck in the mail somewhere. So I'll let you know about the contest. That would be pretty cool. It'd be fun for me anyways. So I also put out a video this week that actually got a lot of buzz. It was the nut slot video. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was something else that I didn't expect. I'll put the link in the chat here for you guys. I didn't expect so many people to be interested in that thing. Again, very short and sweet video, and I think it's already up to 20,000 views within a couple of days. So obviously there's a lot of people that are looking for solutions when it comes to guitar setup, and specifically nut slotting, which is perhaps the trickiest aspect that requires a lot of finesse and detail when you're setting up a guitar. And, you know I've struggled with that, and it's not always easy to do correctly. You can ruin a couple of nuts, and then you got to start all over again. And it always sucks when that happens, right? But at least there are some solutions that are popping up, including that one. So if you guys have an opportunity, check it out. A lot of people don't understand. I got a lot of comments that people were not understanding how it works, or what the advantage is. I can tell by the comments. And the people that do get it were like, yeah, I really need this thing. I got to buy one right away, or I got one and I love it and it works fantastic. And a lot of people are like, well, how does this thing work? I don't get it. It's because it's a simple tool, and simple yet complex at the same time. And it took me a moment to understand, like, how do you use this thing exactly? It's probably not for everyone, but I wanted to throw it out there. And if you guys are doing your own guitar setup, check it out, man. I have it in my toolbox and I use it, and I think it's way easier than using feeler gauges. All right. David said the nut is the last setup step for me to tackle. Yeah, that's probably the most important one, dude, to be honest. A lot of people don't think that a lot of the problems stem from the nut. And sometimes you have issues, and it ends up being, people are looking in the wrong place, where it's actually the nut. So Paul says, hey, Paul, what's happening, dude? I was wondering what you bought, Paul. Now we know. So he says, my Friedman IRX arrived yesterday. Headphones and balanced 1/4 phone to XLR just arrived. So hook up later today. Very cool. Hey, a lot of people are raving about those things. Congratulations, dude. I'm sure you're going to have lots of fun. Lots of hours of entertainment with that little unit. Is that your pre-Christmas gift to yourself, Paul? I want you to give us some feedback once you get a chance to play around with it. Let us know how you like it. Very nice gift. there's so many great products popping up, guys. It's hard to keep track. You know, you save up your money thinking you're going to buy something really nice this year, but we're getting inundated with so many things, so many products that we're getting distracted. You know, it's kind of hard. You can't just buy one thing. Hey, Mr. Fats. Que pasa? What's happening, dude? David said, I guess I've been fortunate and never had a problem with the nut on a guitar. Well, there's two kind of people, David. There's people that never had a problem with a nut on a guitar, and there's people that don't know that they have a problem with a nut on the guitar. So hopefully you're the first. You fit into the first category. You know, once you understand how to do nut slotting and you start looking at your guitars carefully, you'll notice that a lot of the guitars that pop up, you know, new guitars, especially if you're taking them right off the wall at the guitar shop, a lot of them require some love. They're set up in the ballpark most of the time. So I'm sure if you look carefully, you'll see a couple of guitars that require a little bit of love. So David says, wow, the Friedman has an effects loop, headphone port, and MIDI. It's a really cool piece of gear, David. I don't know if it's the first time you're looking at it, but yeah, it's very sweet. Could come in very, very useful. Steven's here. Hey, Steven, what's happening, dude? He says, pulled the trigger on an Ibanez RG421 CBB. Arriving today, doing my channel over, and we'll start with the unboxing. Awesome, man. Hey, I'll take a look at that. Congratulations. Very nice. Ibanez. Ibanez are always solid guitars. Very cool. Hey, congrats. Stuart R says, for nut issues, believe the hype. Buy some nut sauce. Yeah, nut sauce is such a funny name. A lot of people giggle when they hear that. Playing around with some nut sauce. It's expensive though, but it works. I bought something similar to that. It's not called nut sauce. It's actually a product that they use to lubricate industrial machines. It's still very expensive, but it works just as good. Probably a little cheaper, actually, if I think of it now. Paul says, early Christmas gift and 78th birthday on January 3rd. Congratulations. Well, happy birthday coming up. Beautiful. Hey, you deserve it, dude. Use it in great health, man. Very sweet. Yeah, my wife's birthday's coming up. I got to get ready for that. It's in a couple of days. It's actually on Tuesday. The 10th, Tuesday. We'll go out to a fancy restaurant or something. Hopefully, she'll feel better by then. It really sucks to be sick on your birthday. If not, we'll have to postpone it. We'll see. Hey, Patrick, what's happening? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Ed says, looking at Guitar Fetish for a PAF style pickup, I guess, for the Epiphone Les Paul cheap. They have lots of choice, man. You can't really go wrong. I mean, they're all pretty good pickups. It all depends what kind of sound you're after. You know, everybody talks about PAF pickups like it makes a difference whether or not you call them PAF pickups. They're not PAF anyways, so I don't know why people just keep on using that term. But yeah, you just have to find the right flavor. That's the hard part. Very hard to determine what a guitar pickup sounds like, especially through YouTube videos, because there's so many things in the signal chain. It's almost impossible, to be honest. I mean, I do it. I listen to reviews and stuff, but I realize it's futile because if you're playing through an effect or you're using anything to color the sound, you know, it's almost impossible. If you're not playing the guitar in exactly the same signal chain that you have at home, you won't be able to tell the difference. I can make a pickup sound radically different depending on how I process the sound in between. So it's really trial and error, man. David says, I've been using a Valaton GP100 for years now, but I'm starting to get frustrated with lack of available ports. So it might be time to upgrade, man. The GP100, it's a nice piece of gear. That's usually the Achilles heel of the smaller multi-effects units, is eventually you run out of options. You know, depending on what you're trying to do with it, and if you're trying to play with it live or just recording and stuff. If you're recording, it's not too bad, but if you're playing in a live scenario, you can run out of ports and stuff relatively quickly. Yeah. Mr. Fats says, question for the dudes. Mr. Fats, you might be new. I don't know if you're new around here. I haven't seen your name too often. But the technique that we use here just to be able to identify questions that are geared to me or to everyone is just put a little question mark before your question. Makes it easier. But your question is, has anyone on here or the host bought that Squire debut that was on sale on Amazon? So I didn't buy anything on Amazon, specifically not a Squire. So I guess the question goes out to you guys. Anybody here pick up the Squire debut? If so, please let us know. Mr. Fat's asking the question. Mr. Vox says, I put a Wilkinson PF clone in the neck position on my SG. It matches up nicely with my Duncan 59 in the bridge. Excuse me. And Rob says, bought a used Telecaster. The nut was jacked on 4 and 5 too low. Does the super glue fix work okay? And do you have to use baking soda or grind down pencil lead? Okay, I can answer that question. So yeah, if you want to build up the nut slot again, a little super glue on, just dab a little bit of baking soda in the slot and just drop a little small drop of super glue, let it dry, and then reslot like you normally would. It usually works. I don't do the grinding of a pencil lead for that. I usually use baking soda. You can put pencil lead in the slots if you want it to slide a little bit more. Here's a little trick for you, Rob, if you want to know if you've done it properly. If you slot the guitar nut, what you do is tune it up to pitch. I can't do it with this guitar because there's a guitar lock here. There's a nut lock here. But tune it up to pitch. Once it's to pitch, bend your string here. See if it goes back to tune. Tune it up to pitch again. Push down in back of the nut here. Push it down, let go, and see if it goes back to tune. If it doesn't, it means that your nut slot is too tight and it's snagging your string and not allowing it to slide. You want the width of the slot. It's not just the depth that's important. It's the width too. You want it to be wide enough so that the strings slide freely within that slot. If it's binding up, no good. You're going to have tuning issues. Music and Gear says for under $100, it's a budget guitar killer by a name brand. It was under $100? Really? John says, driving home from a friend's gig, stopped for a double quarter pounder and fries. Breakfast of champions there, John. The carnivore diet, except for the fries. So Music and Gear says a friend has one. It was nice. He did a pickup upgrade. I think he has under $200 in it. The Squires are usually a good starting point if you're really, you don't want to spend money or serious dough on a guitar. It still blows my mind that you can buy a guitar for that cheap. I mean, just the materials. I mean, how much does it cost them to build these guitars? Like, how much is their cost? If they can crank these out for like $100, what does it cost them? Like $25 to build a guitar like that? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Don't get it. Something I'm missing. I don't know what it is. I'm in the wrong business. If that's true, could you imagine how much profit they're making on those guitars over at Fender and Gibson? It blows my mind. Really crazy. So I was messing around with AI this weekend, just because I can, and I asked AI, how much, on average, how long does it take for someone to get good at playing guitar? Just out of curiosity, I wanted to see what it was going to spit out in terms of an answer. And here's the answer. It says, on average, it takes about 2 to 5 years of constant practice to become proficient at playing guitar. And this assumes practicing 1 to 2 hours per day using a structured approach, focusing on essential techniques, theory, and repertoire. So you're looking at 1 to 2 hours a day for 2 to 5 years. How much is that in hours? I didn't calculate in hours. I don't have my calculator here. Can somebody do the math for me? Can somebody calculate, let's say an average of, I don't know, let's just say an hour a day. They say an hour or two. I don't know too many people that can practice for 2 hours every single day. Let's say an hour. An hour for 5 years. How many hours is that? Anybody good at math here? And then he said they also listed key milestones. They say 3 to 6 months to have basic chord strumming patterns and simple songs. 1 year smooth chord changes, beginner scales, and basic finger picking. 1 year for finger picking and chord changes? That seems odd. 1 year if you're practicing an hour a day? That seems weird. Anyway, they say 2 years intermediate technique like bar chords, soloing, and improvisation. Again, 2 years for intermediate techniques like bar chords? 2 years to learn how to do a bar chord? I don't know, man. I guess I would say maybe some crazy jazz chords, yeah. So David says 5 years equals 1,825 days. So 1,825 hours. If we're doing 1 hour a day, or 3,650 hours if we're doing 2 hours a day. So that's well beyond the 10,000 hours that people claim you need to do to become like really, really good. And then 3 to 5 years, it goes on to say mastery of diverse styles, advanced solos, and confident performances. That I kind of feel, 3 to 5 years. So anyway, interesting to know that I may be falling behind there. I may have to up my game when it comes to practicing, because God knows I don't practice nearly that amount of time. And I should. Honestly, I should. I'm starting to feel bad. Anyways, okay. All right. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Maybe there's some of you out there that play even more than that. And that's great if you can find the time to do it. I always say to anybody learning how to play guitar that are young, and I see these guys playing guitar when they're teenagers, and I'm like, I try to make them understand, dude, now's the time. Jump into it full tilt, because you're at home, you're not working, you're going to school or whatever, but you have so much free time during the day that you're wasting on other things that you could be concentrating on learning how to play guitar. And trust me, it'll be well worth it if you put in that time now, because you won't be able to do it after. it becomes very, very difficult. Forget it if you start having a family and kids, and you're working stiff, and you come home tired and all that kind of stuff. It's almost impossible. If you can squeeze it in, great, but most people can't. So that's my advice to the young people around here. I don't know how many young people we have here today, but there was some good news this week. There's a new Led Zeppelin movie, or at least a trailer, coming out, and that looks very interesting. Anybody see that? It's on Sony. Looking forward to that. There's I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan. I still can't get enough, even though I've seen all those clips already. It's still nice to look forward to something. Eddie says, Tony, guys, any thoughts on the PRS SE DGT? I'm thinking about picking one up. Look, dude, I had a really, really bad case of gear for the PRS Core DGT that I was considering at one point, but they're just so expensive. I think the SE model of that guitar would do you just fine. Haven't had too many people tell me that they regret buying a PRS SE. They're very solidly made guitars. And of course, you can always upgrade pickups and whatnot if you want to really, get into the ballpark and maybe invest in some original DGT pickups and put them in there. But I think you would be quite happy with that guitar for a long, long time. That's a sweet looking guitar, man. I gotta say, I really caught my attention when I saw it. David says, Addicted to Gear, didn't you show a Jimmy Page Dragon Telecaster in the previous episode? I did, but that's a guitar that I'm building. It's not a off-the-shelf guitar. There's a backstory to that guitar. That's a guitar that my nephew painted. He bought a guitar body and he painted it by hand himself. And I guess he intended to build himself one, but never did. And it was very, very sweet. And he sent it to me. And he's like, here you go, you build it. So I have the intention of building it. I might work on it during the holidays, during the Christmas holidays, if I have some time, because I really have been too busy to do anything else. But I really want to get it built. So that might be something that I reserve some time for during the Christmas holidays. That would be a really fun project for me. Eddie says, thanks, Tony. I'm looking at the gold top. Nice choice. Yes, very nice. Yeah, the gold top. I didn't even consider that as an option for the DGT model. Let me just see something. Just see what it looks like. Yeah, the gold top's nice. I would definitely concur with you on that. How much is it over here? So right here in my hometown, it's selling for $976 Canadian. They say the original price was $1,149, so it's slightly less. And the gold top looks sweet on that guitar. Yep, you have my blessing. Mr. Fat says that the Fender website has some serious deals, like really good deals, like 30 and 50% off on some of their gear. Well, what's going on at Fender? We'll have to take a look. Thank you for that. This is the kind of content and comments that I like. I like when people have, they're keeping an eye out for these kind of things and sharing with the group. Beautiful. Thank you for that, Mr. Fats. I encourage everybody to share with the group so we can snag some really nice deals just before Christmas. Share the Christmas spirit. There was the whole hoopla on the Trump guitar this last couple of weeks. I didn't even waste time. A lot of YouTubers talked about it and did videos on it, and I'm like, This is just somebody taking advantage of an opportunity, and it's going to be a flash in the pan. And I didn't really take it seriously. I don't know how many people did, but I'm sure you probably saw people talking about it. Like, it looked like a Chinese guitar to me. I wouldn't go out and buy it, and I didn't want to waste too much time on it. But I figured maybe you guys have seen it, and I hope none of you bought that guitar. Save yourself some money for something pretty serious. Stuart says the Fender sale has been on for a week now. Most of the good buys are sold out. That's the thing. You got to move fast, guys. When it comes to these Black Friday deals, Cyber Monday deals, pre-Christmas deals, blah, blah, blah. You know, there's limited stock most of the time, so you have to like really move quickly. So yeah, if you see something, don't wait. Use the Costco approach. If you see something at Costco you like and it's a good price, just buy it, because next time you're there, they won't have it. Same kind of thing. Dan, thank you for stopping in, dude. Catch the rerun if you want to know the answers to the poll questions. We'll cover that in just a little bit. What's happening with Peavey? Look, it sounds like they've been going downhill lately. They haven't really come up with anything interesting in the last little while. Anybody know what's going on over there? The other thing that caught my attention this week, which I'm sure is not true, is that there was rumors that Gibson would move all their guitars manufacturing overseas. I don't think that's going to happen, personally. They put too much effort into restarting the brand after they almost went bankrupt, putting a lot of effort into marketing and pushing promotions. I don't think they would shoot themselves in the foot by moving manufacturing to Japan. Japan. I don't even know if it's Japan. Overseas in general. I don't think they would do that. That would be a nail in the coffin for a brand like Gibson. So I don't know. I think it's just hype. There's a lot of stuff that pops up in the feeds that, you know, is just total bullshit. So just be careful what you believe there. I'm pretty sure there's nothing to worry there. Vinny says NAMM 2025 is coming up, so probably a lot of new teasers incoming for the next couple of weeks. I hope we get to see something from Marshall. I've been waiting to spend money on, like serious money on an acquisition of something. And I'm banking that Marshall will have something interesting by the time NAMM rolls around this year. So I'm really, really like waiting and hoping that they will. It's time. They have to come up with something. Paul says, Tony, with Friedman, I can even practice in the middle of the night and be working with pedals and all volume. Then is never an issue from phones to full gig loud. Neither is learning technique. That's the beauty of all these little gadgets, man. They're amazing when it comes to practicing quietly. It almost makes having an amplifier nowadays like redundant. Because most of the time I'm playing through something relatively low volume or quiet. You know, either the fractal or the aux. If I'm playing through an amp, it's going to be through the aux. I rarely, I'm playing at loud volumes here anymore unless there's no one home and I want to get the lead out. Then I'll play full tilt and have ringing in my ears for at least 3 or 4 days. But other than that, not too often. It doesn't happen too often anymore. Vinny's World says, I think that Gibson moving overseas, that thing ended up being clickbait and the original tweet post was deleted. Like I say, everybody likes to jump on stuff like that because it's hyped and it basically gets clicks. But at the end of the day, it's just vaporware. So Don't worry about it, guys. 90% of the stuff that you hear or read is not true. I just made up that statistic, by the way. Vinny's World says, Marshall did tease on IG that they will have something loud at their next NAMM booth. I know. And that's what I've been paying attention to, is like the little subtle things that the guys over at Marshall are dropping. And I think it's going to be cool. I think they're going to blow our socks off. I hope. NFM says, Tony, so you decided fully against the Tone King? Question mark. I recall you were seriously considering it several months ago. Yeah, I did decide not to go for the Tone King. Not that it's not a great amplifier. It really was. I think it was amazing. Sounded really good. But it was too redundant in terms of what I already have. If I didn't have other amps here that were kind of in the same tone range, I would say, yeah, it would be worthwhile. Definitely a great amplifier to be able to scratch that itch. It's an amazingly built amplifier, and the fact that it has the built-in attenuation and stuff like that is great. However, spending that kind of cash on an amp that really has a lot of overlap with the amps that I have here didn't make sense for me right now. So I decided to not do it. And I think I made the right call. Again, not to say that it's not a great amplifier. I thought it was fantastic. But sometimes you have to make the right decision. You got to pull off that bandage. You can't just go out and buy everything. Stuart says, I have a Helix LT in my guitar room and a Helix Stomp XL by the couch. Just too easy. And the reality of it, guys, is that most of us nowadays are not playing in front of an audience. We don't really need extremely loud amplifiers or anything like that. Most of us are playing in a small space at home just for fun. And a lot of these smaller solutions work perfectly well. David says, is your t-shirt the blah, blah, blah? The blah guy. Yeah, this is the cartoon that I used to love to watch when I was a kid. This guy's amazing. He used to make me crack up. I think the actual thing is called Ligno or Ligna, which in Italian means line. Because the whole cartoon was basically a line drawing of this character that would get into scenarios, and he wouldn't speak any specific language. It would just be like gibberish that would sound like stuff, but it was all in the inflections and in the dynamics of it and stuff, and it was fantastic. And you can still catch this on YouTube if you look it up. Amazing stuff. They don't do stuff like that anymore. Did I hear about the Gibson crackdown on fake Gibsons by custom agents? Yeah, we talked about that last week, Mr. Fats. Again, it was hyped up. The numbers were all wrong. They said $18 million and stuff like that. And if you do the math, it's not really $18 million. It's $18 million if those were real. I guess top of the line custom shop Les Pauls is how you would have to calculate it to come up to that number. So it's far from that number. And they're just using it as, hype basically before the holidays. I guess it's just maybe something that Gibson puts out there every once in a while before Christmas, just to remind people, hey, don't order fake Gibsons, because you can order the real stuff from us and pay much, much more. So they do that every once in a while. Probably like once a year or once every 2 years, you hear something that comes up. Is it going to stop or change anything? No, not at all. You're still going to be able to get fake Gibsons anytime you want them. It's just too hard to stop that. I don't encourage it, by the way, but it is what it is. If Gibson really wants to curb that, they would probably, be smart to lower some prices on the lower end model so you're more competitive. And then that problem would go away. BC Rich 581 says, those counterfeit Gibsons were some of my best work. saw a lot of posts of people getting their chipsins with stickers over the logo. Yeah. It's not going to make a difference, Vinny. Honestly, it won't. All right, we're almost up to an hour. We're going to have to wrap it up. So let's look at the poll question, shall we? I think the poll question could be interesting this today. So on the community tab in the Addicted to Gear channel, you'll see the poll question that was posted 2 days ago. We got 248 votes on the poll question. And the poll question was very straightforward. It was, what's more important? What is the more important factor when playing music? I could have worded that better. My English is kind of rotten there. What I meant to say was, what's the most important factor when playing music? And I kind of didn't write that properly. It was late at night, guys. Sorry about that. But basically, the three possible choices are technique, passion, or attitude. And it's funny that technique and attitude are almost tied neck and neck, 16 to 15%. So almost identical. And I think the reason for that is a lot of people don't understand what the difference is between technique and attitude, or maybe the other way around. What's the difference between attitude and passion? Anyway, if we analyze the response here, 69% of you said that the most important part of playing music is passion. Not technique, not attitude, but passion. And I have to say, I think I'm in the same ballpark. A lot of people will argue with that, and they will say, well, you can't, if you don't have technique, you have to be good technically to be a good musician. I don't know if that's true or not. Let's see. We got a couple of alternate answers here. So our very own Shane says, passion is so overrated, he says. My gerbil can play with passion. Highly doubt that. If your gerbil can do that, I want to know where you got your gerbil from. My gerbil can play with passion. Technique, however, puts you in the elites like Eddie, Ingwie, Vi, and Jimmy. Okay, so just put a pin in that one. Let's go to the next one. Both technique and attitude can be changed with discipline. Passion is like an addiction. It will even talk you into putting priorities on the back burner. I would agree that passion is a very, very powerful force in the scope of things. The next one says, I'm all about the tude. So another vote for attitude. And then we have a little longer answer here from Vinny's World. He says, I know most people on the internet will put passion, but I think one can only truly express their emotion if they have a certain level of technique. It doesn't mean you have to play fast or whatnot, which is what most of the internet is harping about. Rather, it's the differences between someone being proficient in a language and having a general knowledge of vocabulary at their disposal versus someone who struggles to convey even the most basic of notions. Even those that are, and he goes on to say, deemed sloppy, like Jimmy Page, for example, to the extent we're talking about professional recording artists, actually have a certain level of technique. It's more of an artistic direction that their producer and the artist collectively decide on, and most importantly, they have to maintain the vibe, which in and itself is a performance technique. A very well-written and thought-out answer, Vinny. I appreciate that. Fantastic. And you make some great points. Again, I don't think there's one clear answer here. But I think that a lot of people do have a certain way of looking at this thing. I think the thing that I like to say, technique is very, very important in the scope of things. I can't downplay technique. I mean, there's people that are so technical, it's mind-blowing, right? Just the way they play, their technique, their style, the whole thing is great. But I'm pretty sure that before they developed their technique, they had to have passion. If I put it in order, usually it's not technique that comes out first as a player. Technique is important, but when you catch the bug for music, for the love of music as a kid, for example, most of the time the flame is the passion. And from the passion comes the technique. I would say passion is first, technique is second, and maybe attitude third. Once you have that technique down pat, where you can blow the socks off of anyone, at a moment's notice, then maybe you develop your own attitude. And I'm not saying it has to be a bad thing. It could be a good attitude. But the attitude probably comes third. So I'm still going to say, for me, passion comes first. If you don't have passion, you're never going to get to the point to develop amazing technique, because it requires a lot of dedication, a lot of hours, a lot of work. And without passion, you can't keep it up. It's just that simple. It's like a bodybuilder. You get a scrawny guy and he wants to be a big muscle man, bodybuilder dude. If he doesn't have the passion to work out every day to the point of exhaustion and almost crying because you wake up the next day in pain and you got to do it all over again, you're never going to get to the point of being a big muscle man. And along the way, you have to have the right technique. You got to put in the right methods to be able to train yourself to develop that. Same thing with speed. If I want to get technique and I want to be able to sweep pick, which I can't do for beans right now, I have to have a passion for learning how to do that. I don't have a passion for sweep picking. That's why I can't sweep pick for beans, because I never felt it was important to me. It's not what drives me. So that's my point of view. And just for giggles, I decided to put in that question into AI. I know I'm going crazy with the AI lately, but I figured it would be funny to see what AI would say. What does the machine think about all of this? Since, passion is a human emotion, attitude is a human emotion. What does the machine think? Let's put it into the logical machine and see what it would spit out. So I did that. And this is the answer I got. I thought it was interesting. So this is coming from a machine now, not from a human. And it says, if I could pick one, passion would be the most important factor. It says, passion fuels creativity, perseverance, and emotional connection, which are essential for making music that resonates with others. Technique can be learned and refined over time, but without passion, music lacks the soul and authenticity that truly moves people. The human connection. It's funny that a machine is pointing out that you have to have that human connection, which is passion, right? Love. So anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with that. Think about that for a while, guys, when you're practicing. And ask yourself, do you have passion? Or are you just aiming for technique? Because it's a subtle difference, but I think it's a palatable difference in terms of the human connection. Like you can immediately tell when somebody is passionate about something because their face lights up. When you hit that subject and you're talking to somebody that you just met and you start a conversation about something that they're passionate about, their whole demeanor changes. So anyway, leave you at that. I gotta run. Thank you guys for stopping by today. I hope you guys enjoyed our little chit chat. Don't forget to watch the videos that I posted this week, and there'll be something special for you tomorrow probably, or Tuesday at the latest. And have a great week. Stay away from the bugs. Don't catch a cold. Don't catch a flu. Take care of yourself. We'll be back next weekend with more. So take it easy, guys. And remember, practice with passion. Talk to you later.